Hello, this is Billy Core from the Carolina Circle Mall Wiki. Tonight is Monday, June the 13th of 2016, and we're going to do a little something different tonight. Thank you, Earthworm Jim. You see, there's this new trend of videos here on YouTube where people will record footage of themselves playing video games and computer games while they tell a story. And I thought I would give that concept a try tonight by playing a little bit of Earthworm Jim on the Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT while I tell you guys a story. That's right. You see, 20 years ago this month, in hold on, let me get a cheat going here.
Cheater.
You see, 20 years ago in June of 2006, what am I saying? 1996, June of 1996, I experienced what I consider to be probably the worst thunderstorm I've ever witnessed.
Groovy.
And as a matter of fact, when that storm hit, I was actually playing Earthworm Jim on this very Packard Bell with this very level what the heck when this happened. You see, my dad's cousin was visiting us that weekend. Well, he wasn't visiting our house. He was actually visiting my grandmother's house, which was about 2 houses away from here, which I actually did a video about her house about a year after she passed away back in 2009, so if you want to see what it looked like, head that way and check it out for yourselves. But anyway, we were going to have supper there that night with my grandmother and my dad's cousin. Well, my dad had to go drop some food off at my grandmother's house, and since it's only 2 houses away from here, there was really no point in driving there, so he just walked up there. It only took about a minute to drop some food off for our supper that evening. And while he was doing that, I was in the dining room on the Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT. By the way, I was actually at this very exact part right here where you have to jump on this green crystal thing, or emerald, or whatever you want to call it, to get it to go up in the air. And I started hearing some thunder outside, and I started thinking, okay, looks like we're going to have a little storm here. And I thought really nothing of it. I've been through thunderstorms before, no big deal. Well, this was going to be a thunderstorm that would change me in many, many, many ways. Well, my dad finally made it home from my grandmother's house, and all was well, but as soon as he walked through the door, Armageddon struck. And that's not really an exaggeration either. You see, we have this big sliding glass door in our dining room, which goes to our back porch.
Oh, dude!
And good for you. Go ahead and sue. I don't care. But there was this in our dining room. There was this sliding glass door, which goes to our back porch, and which gives a good view of our backyard. And it was like nothing I'd ever seen before in my life. Now, granted, I was only 6 years old at the time. My life was really quite young at that point. But I digress. You see, what I saw was hail coming down in what looked like sheets. I don't know how you could describe how you could compare it to a certain sports ball or anything, but it looked like sheets of ice coming down on the other side of the screen-in porch. and what I believe happened. Now this wasn't a tornado. I'm fortunate enough to say that I've never experienced a tornado in my entire life, but I think the scientific meteorological there we go, term for that is downburst winds, which is similar to what you get in a tornado, but it's not an actual physical tornado. And it looked horrifying from just standing there on the other side of the sliding glass door, watching my entire backyard fall to pieces. And when all was said and done, and it was also a noise like you would never imagine as well. When all was said and done, I was scared, my parents were scared, and we, first thing we noticed, well, I noticed this first actually, the power was out, well, because in that kind of thunderstorm, it's sort of to be expected, unfortunately. But believe it or not, the power outage was not the least of our problems. You see, we went outside, and first of all, there were sirens going on all over the place, all over the neighborhood. I guess from fire trucks and police cars and whatnot, but we had a bunch of fruit trees in our backyard at the time. This was before our land became dry and barren. That's a story for another day. Several of our fruit trees got uprooted and blown away. Some of them probably got blown away miles from here. And
oh yeah,
one of the trees, I believe it was a, I want to say a pear tree, blew into our neighbor's yard on the other side of the road, which was still a pretty good distance. And not only that, in our front yard,
hey, that's hot.
Rather full-size trees, two of them, I believe,
Hey, that's hot.
fell down.
Hey, that's hot.
And these weren't little trees, these were big trees. Trees that had been there, I guess, for 20 years. You see, our house was built in, I believe, 1978, 1979, so my dad probably planted those trees in our front yard right when he built our house. And so they had been there for, at that time it was in 1996, they had been there for roughly 17, 18 years. And so you can imagine they grew quite a bit. And they were pretty tall. Well, they weren't enough to withstand that storm because two of those trees fell down, and I'm just lucky we had a rather large front yard because they didn't fall on anything. Because the size of those trees were, if they had fallen on something, it would have really done a number. And that wasn't the only damage. We had a whole bunch of shingles get blown off our roof. And
oh yeah.
And I remember the ceiling in our in my parents' bedroom started leaking. I guess because of the sudden lack of shingles and all of the extremely heavy rain we got all at once that afternoon. And it was scary, folks.
Ow!
Imagine being 6 years old and witnessing what looked to be Armageddon occur in your own backyard. Thankfully, as far as our power outage was concerned, it was really not out too long because the thunderstorm was in a very, very centralized area. It was very isolated. And we were, unfortunately, the very unlucky ones to get the brunt of it. So, because of that, power outages were not very widespread, so our power came back on within a couple of hours, which was, of course, a very welcome thing. And thankfully, we still got to have supper at my grandmother's house. And unfortunately, her house had quite a bit of damage as well. A lot similar to what happened to our house. I believe she had her shingles torn off her roof. She had some trees down. And yeah, I remember we never got those trees replaced. And eventually, we had to, I think within the week, thankfully, our homeowner's insurance was able to cover all this. I remember, even before our power came back on, my dad was on the phone with our insurance company to see about getting everything repaired. And I remember, probably about a week later, we got the, pretty much our entire roof replaced that week. And that roof lasted us another, I believe, 13 years until June of 2009, when we had a pretty bad storm come through, albeit not as bad, that damaged our roof again, and we had to get it replaced again. So we're currently on our third roof. And, yeah, 20 years later, and that's still the worst thunderstorm I have ever experienced. I don't know exactly what day it happened. I'm pretty sure it was in the early part of June of '96. And I do remember it being on a Saturday. And I'm doing really bad at this part of this level, actually. I remember earlier that day we went shopping and everything, just like we normally would have on a Saturday in 1996. Little did we know that later that afternoon we would pretty much experience the worst thunderstorm I've ever experienced, and I'm still young, so I'll probably experience something quite worse than that. I can imagine. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much all there is to say about that storm. We're pretty much at the end of the level now. So I'll go ahead and keep playing. Pretty much gotta avoid these little fireballs that Evil Cat is throwing at you, which we managed to do. By the way, notice a while ago that Earthworm Jim said, "I'm nude." I used to love it when he said that when I was a kid. But yeah, this game actually I was obsessed with this game in the summer of 1996. If you go back and look for my videos from around 2010, I actually uploaded a video of myself playing Earthworm Jim on the Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT back in June of 1996. So that's a pretty cool video if you want to check that out. So yeah, and which was coincidentally right after that thunderstorm, not long after it at least. So yeah, you gotta, Evil the Cat keeps coming down and fighting at me. So we gotta kill all of his 9 lives. We've killed 2 of them so far. I'm normally better at this, but I'm usually not talking into a microphone, babbling, playing this. Alright, almost there, folks.
7.
1 more.
9.
And with that, hope you enjoyed this video. This is Billy Moore signing off.